What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday, and getting into my workout, my second workout for 2024, and starting with my foam rolling as always. So yesterday's workout, it was good. It was a great workout, but unfortunately, because I'm still dealing with a little bit of golfer's elbow, it was too much volume. And I know that because my golfer's elbow feels worse today than it did yesterday. And that's number one indicator that you've done too much. So people think that with golfer's elbow you should rest to make it better. You absolutely should not rest. You need to strength train because you need to make those wrist flexor tendons stronger so that they can handle the load. You do that through a lot of different stuff, but you shouldn't. It shouldn't feel worse the next day. And so I've gone through a whole series of programming to get to where I am now, which is like in the last stages of golfer's elbow, because I can get up and do my pull-ups and stuff now, but if I do a supinated grip on the pull-ups, it still really hurts. So it's I just did too much volume. So I've had to adjust my program for this month with the goal that by the end of 4 weeks that my golfer's elbow will be better. And it's an important thing to do. You don't have to do anything. I want to make my body injury free before I start pushing towards bigger goals like one-arm pull-ups, for example, because the one-arm pull-up, any unilateral pulling on that side with the golfer's elbow is just going to make the golfer's elbow worse. That's the weak link. So it's all about turning that weak link into a strength. So I've just got to back it off. Take it easy, not go too hard too soon. And so my next workout tomorrow, which is doing the same movements I did yesterday, is going to be less volume. I'm going to take out the chest flies and the bent over lateral raises. I'm basically going to take out all the stuff where I was focusing on building hypertrophy in my chest. And I'll have to revisit that once the golfer's elbow is gone. Because even though, getting rid of golfer's elbow isn't one of my goals this year, that's something that I should be able to do pretty quickly, but it has to come before everything else. It's just a pain in the butt. So I always just do my foam rolling first, and this is all just from the 20-minute mobility routine. When people start off on their flexibility journey, spending more time than what I'm doing on all this foam rolling is really useful. Because I've been doing this stuff for a decade now, I can go through it really quickly. Like, it doesn't take long for me to hit the exact spot that I'm intending on hitting. And I really enjoy doing foam rolling to start my workout off. I think it's a really good thing to do daily. And this is like, for me, like minimum workout would be to just do some foam rolling and a bit of mobility. That keeps everything moving nicely, and it means that when I get back to, full training, that I haven't gone backwards. So the next thing I do, especially on my leg days, because I'm doing split squats today, I do some ankle mobility, because I've got one of the many traumatic injuries that I've had in my body. I tore the Lisfranc ligament on my right foot, and I had to get surgery 25 years ago. And I've lost mobility in the right ankle as a result. I've got, maybe 5 or 10% less dorsiflexion than I do in my left ankle. So I work on, I've only actually just started again. I wasn't doing it for a while, but recently I started to really notice it, the difference from left to right. So now I just do this little bit of ankle mobility. And anybody that struggles with ankle mobility, in the time that you watch me do this, this is all it takes to do daily to really increase your ankle mobility. So that little bit of mobilization there in the heel, in the ankle, and then just a nice little loaded ankle stretch like this for 30 seconds. So I'm just trying really hard to keep my heel flat on the ground. So that's really important. People often just go so far that their heel comes off the ground and they really lose the connection, which is for all, I shouldn't say for all, for most leg training, we want to keep weight through the whole foot. And so I don't like doing dorsiflexion flexibility where the heel comes off the ground, because you lose that understanding of where you have good connection with the ground that translates to your squats and your split squats and Cossack squats, and then more challenging calisthenics movements like shrimps and box step-ups and pistol squats, things like that. So this is really the only stretch that I do in my warm-up. I don't mind doing this as a stretch before my workout, because I'm not doing anything in my workout that requires explosive force from the calves. If I was doing anything like running, or when I do my flow workouts in the afternoon, or if I was doing any kind of jumping or anything like that, I definitely wouldn't do this, because this is not good to then go and try and do explosive force development. And the calf raises that I'm going to do in this workout are right at the end of the workout, so it's not going to affect me for that. And of course, workouts should be, exercise specific. You should be at workouts, warm-ups. A warm-up for what I'm about to do would be different than a warm-up for sprinting or running or anything like that. So this is my favorite warm-up. Well, this is what I do now. My warm-up evolves all the time though, because I'm always just checking in with what my body needs. And there's certain things that always stay consistent with what I do. And then there's some things that, that I change as time goes by. This is one of my favorite warm-up movements. It's 360 hip mobility. Really nice way to mobilize the hips and the spine and the ankles and everything. For my spine. I've already done some mobility this morning, so I don't need to do too much now. And I also do this so right. I don't do it every day. I think I'm going to start doing this more this year, because my hip flexors are so tight. They are, for sure, one of the tightest muscles in my body. And whenever I've had a physio or a sports massage and they get into my hip flexors, they always go, "Oh my God, that is so tight." So I don't like that, because by most people's standards, I'm a pretty flexible person. So it's important to recognize where your weaknesses are, where your weak links are, and then focus on those. So if I can do just a little bit of this, every day this year, it should release my hip flexors a bit. And muscles that are really tight, that you've got like a lifetime of dysfunctional movement, which I do, well, I've got at least over a decade where I've been in an anterior tilt and my hip flexors have been tight. It takes time. It takes like daily work to get it done, and people get really disheartened by that, but I think that should inspire you to do it more, because if you've got something that's bad in your body, like for me, my hip flexors, and it's getting worse if you don't do anything about it, it doesn't matter that I have to work 10 times harder to make my hip flexors flexible than I'd have to work on any other part of my body. That doesn't matter. What matters is that I've identified something that really needs work, that if I don't do the work on it, it's just going to get worse. And man, I don't want my body getting worse as I get older. I want to get better. So that's my approach to imbalances and weaknesses in my body. All right, let's get into the workout. All right, so last workout I did 16 seconds for all 5 sets, so this workout I'm going for 17 seconds for all 5 sets. And when you do isometric contractions like that, it's not about like getting max effort for every set. What we want is to maintain the hold time for all 5 sets. So it's far less productive if I do 25 seconds in the first set but only 12 seconds in the 5th set. And with a tuck lever, I'm working to keep the elbow straight and retract the scapula while you're doing it, which is the hard part that a lot of people miss. Most people are just focusing just on that extension and they're not getting that retraction. So you'll see when I get up, you'll see that moment where I pull back into retraction. I've only got 90 seconds rest, so I've got to get ready now for my next exercise. Whew. Oh, I was only going for 8, but I got lost in thought and did 10. Whew. All right, 10 reps. All right. So, I'm doing 5 sets of this now. And then supplementaries today, I'm doing some posterior chain work, so for my glutes and hamstrings, and at the same time working on hamstring flexibility. So I do the split squats because not only do they maintain strength in my legs, but they're also really good for flexibility development in the hip flexors and ankles, which is where I'm working on at the moment. So that's why I'm doing those. So some hip flexor flexibility work, and then I'll do some hamstring flexibility work, so antagonistic flexibility movements in my lower body. I've got what feels like could be a muscle cramp coming through up in my traps and rhomboids here, so just gonna get into it a little bit. A stitch in time saves 9. I use these massage balls and foam roller, like all that trigger point release stuff that you saw me do in my warm-up. I use this stuff so much. I find it really useful. All right, that's 90 seconds. Got to go for my next set. So I'm about to start the 5th round of my primary, so final round, and it's tough. Only 90 seconds rest between sets, so when you're doing 3 exercises and one of them's a split squat, because legs are hard, whoo, it catches up to you. So 5th set, final round. I've got to try and get 17 seconds here. All right, here we go. You can see me during the set, like going for more retraction. So as I can feel myself fatiguing, I'm trying to pull more into retraction, but without flexing the elbow. But I got 17 seconds. This one's really tough for me. I did a slap tear in this shoulder, working on tuck planches on a couple of progressions above this one. Scapular push up to assisted tuck planche. So there's a, trauma associated with this movement that my body's trying to work through. So I'm really focusing on good technique, and it's really hard for me. So I struggled to get 7 reps last set, let's see. Oh, that was so hard. I got 7 reps though. Okay, so I did quite a bit more on that one, because I got 8 reps on the first 2 sets, and then 7 for set 3, 4, 5. Last workout I did 7, 7, 7, 7, 6. So that's a significant jump. And I had a deload week last week, so it makes sense. If you do good training, push yourself into a state of overreaching, and then do a deload, you come back stronger. That's when super compensation occurs. And that's why I follow progressive programs. I don't do random workouts. I don't turn up and go, I think I might go and do some of this today. I have a structured program that I follow it for 4 weeks, adapt, then write a new program based on current level and where I want to go. So, okay, last round of split squats. Whoop, getting wobbly. Okay. Oh. Woo! That's one of the best exercises for strength in the upper back. The lats, traps, rhomboids for straight arm strength, straight arm scapular strength. It's really good for pull-ups as well. Really transfers to all your pulling movements, especially pull-ups, because, you know, a good pull-up starts with depression and extension in the shoulders and retraction as well. So it does all of those. Get on it. Oh, that one's hard. just really good for, you know, extra straight arm strength work for pushing, for planches and all that good stuff. All right, so now compression strength and then supersetting into some Romanian deadlifts. Oh, okay, here we go. Straight into it, so don't get any rest here. Just got to go straight over into it. Move the camera. Whew. Oh, wobbly legs. It gets tough at this point because you're so out of breath and everything's hurting. But I've only got 3 rounds of each of the supplementary exercises. Okay, quiet. Okay, you've just got to get it done at this point. It's tough. Mind plays tricks on you, or maybe not your mind plays tricks on you, but discipline really comes into it. Got to keep the workouts efficient. Okay, that's my rest over. All right, so I finished my supplementary Bs, and I do those good mornings because they're a really good way of developing flexibility in the hamstrings by doing loaded eccentrics, which is really, really good for developing flexibility. But it's also really good for glute strength and hamstring strength as well. So, you know, by pairing those compression lifts, the seated pike compression lifts, and then supersetting it with the good mornings is really, really good for flexibility and flexibility development, but I'm, you know, doubling up with strength as well. And now I'm doing the same thing here. So I'm going to be doing hanging leg raises or hanging L raises. So I'm doing them mostly for the abs. It's an ab exercise, but of course it also strengthens the hip flexors a lot, which helps with compression strength. And then I'm going to superset straight into a Jefferson curl hold, or just a, you know, a forward fold, depending on what you want to call it. So I haven't done these for a while. So let's see how I go. I'm pretty fatigued by now, but I'm almost at the end of the workout. So now I'll superset straight down into my Jefferson curl hold. So my lower back is really locked up because of my spondylolisthesis, so I pay extra special attention to my lower back when I forward fold. I really try and not just get all the movement in the hips, and then I do a few contractions of the quads and relax and contract the quads and relax. Contract the quads, relax, and then back up. Woo! Oh. If you ever want 35 kilos to feel heavy, do that. Pay attention to the part that sticks and locks up. That's the lower back for me. Oh. Tense the quads. Relax. Tense. Relax. Tense. Relax. Oh. Woo! All right, so now I just do some ankle work. So I start with a tibialis anterior raise, and I use this freak athlete tib raise. It's really good. I'll put a link in the description for you guys, but it's really good piece of equipment. Okay, so there we go. So I'm really doing these just to like create structural balance in my ankles, because I'm doing calf raises at the moment, and I always do like antagonistic movements, so push and pull. So if the calf raise is the push, this is the pull. And now I'll jump into a set of calf raises. And I'm just doing single leg calf raises here on the edge of my step, just so that I can go full range of motion. I like to train my joints through full range at all times. I'm a big believer in full range strength training. I think if you're going to do strength training, if you're going to take the time, then you may as well do full range of motion, because full range is what builds flexibility and helps prevent injury. It also accesses more, or makes use of more muscle fiber, and the more muscle fibers you use, the more chance for hypertrophy. I lost count there, which is bad, because when you do a unilateral exercise like this, you really got to do the same amount on both sides. And I always do the easiest exercises last. Like, I don't want to be trying to do a hard exercise now when I'm this fatigued. I want to be doing the easy stuff, the stuff that in a state where I'm feeling like, oh, I just want to finish. I can go, all right, I've only got these tib raises and calf raises to do, and then I'm finished. So that's the end of my workout. But what I want to do, I just want to start doing this year, I think, just doing one stretch at the end of the workout, like just hitting each position once. So just all the main flexibility movements. Oh. I haven't done this for ages. I haven't done pancake work for a very long time. So, don't quite have my chest on the ground. We'll see how it progresses over the year, but I'll just do, just a 30-second hold. So now I can just go into the middle splits from there. So when you do stretching like this, it's really important that you don't push yourself. Like, this isn't my best effort, but I haven't done any middle splits training today, any warm up or anything. So if I was to try and do like max effort, that would be really silly right now. It's just about that daily exposure to the position at the end of a workout when you're warmed up. And just hitting those end ranges daily. This is one I never give it enough time. Glute stretching, which is another weakness for me. I'm pretty stiff in the glutes. So this one took me ages to be able to learn how to feel. Like, I used to feel it in the side of my knee, which is really bad. You really don't want to be feeling this stretch in the side of your knee. You want to be feeling it in your butt. And it took me a lot of practice to be able to feel it in my butt. You have to learn how, like, it's this combination of leaning forward, leaning this way to the side, and also which way you rotate. And you've got to play around with those three planes of movement. And you've got to think about the movement coming from the hips, not the spine. Because moving the spine, that does nothing for a hip stretch, for the glutes. So I actually wasted a lot of years not doing this stretch because I just thought I couldn't feel it. Like, I must have wasted 15 years because I thought, I can't feel this stretch, I'm just not going to do it. Which was completely the wrong approach. I should have done what I do now, which is, I can't feel this stretch, I need to give this more time. I need to explore this position, I need to understand how to do it properly. And so I actually do hip external rotation 3 times a week now for 3 sets in my afternoon workout, which I'm not doing this week because as much as I'm committing to training 6 days a week this year, I can't do 2 workouts a day during school holidays. It's just too selfish, and I'm not giving my wife and my son what they need if I do that. So I'm only doing 1 workout a day during the school holidays. Use come off. This is not a good place to be doing the front splits. I'd much rather be on some nice soft carpet. All right, and now the hardest one for me, the back bridge. I only started doing back bridges just about a month ago, and I've only done it once or twice. I didn't touch back bridge for 4 years after my slap tears. There was just no way I could even come close to it, and I had so much other work to do. So this is a good spot for a feet elevated, because when you elevate your feet, requires less shoulder flexibility. So we'll give this a go. This is really tough for me. So don't judge me on my back bridge. Oh. Woo. Oh. And that's it.